Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It's 1 am and you're still awake staring at the ceiling. And somewhere in your chest there's a question you haven't said out loud to anyone. Maybe it's, why is this happening to me? Maybe it's, does Allah even hear me anymore? If that's you right now, I want you to keep watching. Because this isn't going to be another video that tells you to just be patient and move on. This is for the version of you that's tired of pretending you're fine. You've been carrying something. Maybe it's a relationship that ended and left you replaying every conversation, trying to find the moment it went wrong. Maybe it's a job you didn't get. An opportunity that slipped away right when you thought it was finally yours. Maybe it's money. And the stress of watching numbers shrink while bills keep growing. Maybe it's loneliness, the kind that sits with you even in a room full of people. Maybe it's a dua you've made so many times you've lost count and heaven still feels silent. Whatever it is, you don't need to explain it to me. You just need to know that what you're feeling is real and it matters, and it is not a sign that Allah has forgotten you. Here's what's actually happening, even if it doesn't feel like it. You are standing so close to your situation that all you can see is the wall in front of you. But Allah isn't standing where you're standing. He sees the wall and He sees what's on the other side of it, and He sees every road that leads there, including the ones you haven't discovered yet. You're looking at a locked door and assuming that's the end of the story. Allah is looking at the same door, and He already knows exactly which key opens it, and when, and why it wasn't supposed to open a second earlier than this. There's a verse in the Qur'an that says, perhaps you hate a thing and it is good for you, and perhaps you love a thing and it is bad for you, and Allah knows while you do not know. Sit with that for a second. Not as a nice sentence, but as a real description of your life right now. That thing you're grieving. The thing you can't stop thinking about. The thing you wanted so badly that losing it feels like losing a piece of yourself. What if it wasn't actually meant for you? Not because you weren't good enough, not because you didn't try hard enough, but because Allah, who knows the beginning and end of your story, decided it wasn't the right chapter. That doesn't mean the pain isn't real. It doesn't mean you're wrong for grieving it. It means your pain and Allah's wisdom are not in conflict with each other. Both things are true at the same time. You are allowed to hurt over what you lost, and Allah can still be protecting you through the loss. Let me tell you about someone. Her name doesn't matter, but her story might feel familiar. She had spent 3 years working toward one specific goal. A graduate program she believed would finally give her life direction. She studied for it, sacrificed weekends for it, prayed 2 rakats before every application deadline, asked Allah sincerely to open that door if it was good for her. When the rejection came, it didn't just feel like a no to a program. It felt like a no to her entire plan for her future. She remembers sitting on her bedroom floor that night, not even crying loudly, just quiet tears. The kind that come when you're too tired to even be dramatic about your own sadness. She kept whispering, I don't understand. I really don't understand. Why would you let me want this so much if you were never going to give it to me? For a while, she pulled away. Not completely, but enough. Her prayers got shorter. Her dua felt more like a routine than a conversation. She still believed in Allah. But somewhere underneath that belief was a quiet resentment she didn't want to admit to herself. She kept going through the motions, work, family, small daily responsibilities. But there was a heaviness she couldn't shake. About a year later, almost by accident, she ended up taking on a small project at her job that nobody else wanted. It wasn't glamorous. It wasn't the dream she had pictured. But it introduced her to a mentor who saw potential in her that she didn't see in herself. That mentor eventually connected her to an opportunity that had nothing to do with the original program she'd been rejected from. An opportunity that fit who she actually was far better than the plan she had been chasing. It wasn't a dramatic movie-style twist. It was slow. It was ordinary. It unfolded through small, unremarkable days that didn't feel meaningful while they were happening. It was only when she looked back, maybe 2 years later, that she understood something. If she had gotten into that program, she never would have taken that small project at work. She never would have met that mentor. She never would have found the path that actually made her feel like herself. The door that closed on her wasn't cruelty. It was redirection. But she couldn't have known that in the moment. Nobody can know that in the moment. That's the part faith actually has to hold. The part where you don't get the explanation in advance. What if the door that closed in your life wasn't the end of your story, but the removal of a distraction from it? What if the delay you're so frustrated with isn't Allah being slow, but Allah protecting you from timing that would have hurt you in ways you can't yet imagine? What if the thing you're grieving right now is being replaced quietly, patiently, with something you're not even ready to receive yet? Because receiving it now would have meant becoming a version of yourself you haven't grown into. These aren't promises that everything will work out exactly the way you want. I'm not going to tell you that. Nobody can tell you that, and be honest with you. Allah doesn't owe you the specific outcome you're praying for. What Allah promises is something different and honestly something more solid. He promises that with hardship comes ease. Not after hardship, with it. Meaning the ease isn't separate from what you're going through. It's woven into it, even when you can't see the threads yet. He promises that whoever is mindful of Him, He will make a way out for them and provide for them from places they never expected. Not always the way they expected. Not always on the timeline they wanted, but a way out from somewhere they didn't see coming. You don't need Allah to explain the plan to you before you trust it. That's actually the whole point of trust. If you could see the whole plan, you wouldn't need faith, you just need patience for the reveal. But faith means trusting the wisdom of the one who wrote the story, even when you're only allowed to read one line at a time. Now here's something important, because I don't want you to misunderstand what trusting Allah actually looks like. It doesn't mean sitting still and waiting for your life to fix itself while you do nothing. Trusting Allah, real tawakkul, means you still make the effort that's within your control. You still send the application. You still show up to the appointment. You still have the hard conversation you've been avoiding. You still try. Trusting Allah isn't the opposite of trying. It's what gives your trying peace instead of panic. You do your part fully, sincerely, and then you hand the outcome over. Not because you don't care what happens, but because you finally accept that you were never the one who controlled it in the first place. And sabr, real patience, isn't pretending you're okay when you're not. It's not swallowing your pain and performing strength for other people. The people we consider the strongest in faith were also the ones who cried the hardest. A father grieved his missing son for so long that his eyes grew weak from weeping. And he never stopped hoping. And he never stopped turning to Allah, even in the middle of that grief. He didn't hide his sorrow. He just refused to let his sorrow separate him from his Lord. That's what sabr actually looks like. You can cry tonight. You can feel disappointed, hurt, confused, even angry about how things have gone. Feeling all of that doesn't cancel your faith. What matters is where you bring those feelings. Do you bring them to Allah or do you carry them alone? Maybe you've made the same dua so many times that you've started to wonder if it's even reaching anywhere. I want you to consider something. Maybe your dua isn't unanswered. Maybe it's still being written into your life in a form you haven't recognized yet. Maybe the version of the answer you're waiting for isn't the version that's coming. Because the version that's coming is actually better. Even though right now it's impossible for you to imagine anything better than what you originally wanted. That's not me telling you to stop asking for what you want. Keep asking. Be specific. Be honest. But hold that specific request with open hands, not clenched fists. Because Allah's answer might look different from your request and still be exactly what you needed. Think about how you're looking at your life right now. You're probably measuring it against a picture you had in your head. A picture of where you thought you'd be by now, who you thought you'd be with, what you thought you'd have. When reality doesn't match that picture, it feels like failure. But what if the picture in your head was never the actual plan? Just a guess you made with limited information. Allah isn't obligated to fulfill the picture you imagined. He's writing something with more depth than a picture. Something with context and timing and meaning you can't access from where you're standing. There's a kind of exhaustion that comes from trying to control everything, from replaying decisions, from checking your phone every few minutes hoping something changes, from lying awake trying to solve a problem that was never yours to solve alone. Tonight, I want you to consider putting that exhaustion down. Not because the problem disappears, but because you stop carrying it like it's entirely on your shoulders. It was never meant to be carried alone. So here's something practical, something you can actually do tonight, not tomorrow, not when you feel more ready. Tonight, say your prayer, even if it feels heavy. Sit for a few minutes afterward and talk to Allah honestly. In your own words, no formal language required. Just tell Him what you're actually feeling. Tell Him you're tired. Tell Him you don't understand. Tell Him what you're hoping for, clearly, specifically. Then think of one small step that's actually within your control related to what you're going through. One message you need to send, one application you need to finish, one boundary you need to set, one conversation you need to have, and do that one thing, even if it's small, even if it doesn't feel like enough. And then, consciously, deliberately, let go of the outcome. Say it out loud if you need to. Say, Ya Allah, I've done what I can, and I'm placing the rest in your hands. Because you know what I don't know, and you see what I can't see. You don't have to understand the entire plan tonight. You're not supposed to. You just have to trust the one who does understand it. The one who has never once lost track of you. Even in the nights you felt most alone. Even in the moments you assumed you'd been forgotten. You haven't been forgotten. You're being written into a story you can't read yet. And one day, maybe not soon, but one day, you're going to look back at this exact season and understand why it had to happen exactly the way it did. Ya Allah, you know what I'm carrying even when I don't have the words for it. You see what's breaking my heart, and you see what I can't see beyond it. Give me patience that doesn't turn into bitterness. Give me strength to keep making effort even when I feel discouraged. Heal the parts of me that feel forgotten. Open the doors that are good for me and close gently the doors that would only hurt me, even if I don't understand it in this moment. Replace what I've lost with what is better for me in this life and in the next. Make me trust you not because I understand your plan, but because I know you are the one who wrote it. Ameen.